All right, influencer marketing and SEO. You sent me a ton of info on this. Let's dive in. We're going way beyond celebrity endorsements here.
Oh,
And
yeah.
we're going to figure out how these online personalities can boost a website's ranking.
It's really interesting how much the landscape has changed. We've gone from those, big names to a whole spectrum of influencers.
Yeah, the source material actually breaks it down into different types, right? Mega, macro, micro, nano. So it's not just about reaching everybody anymore. It's about reaching the right audience.
Yeah. And that's where it gets really interesting for your SEO strategy.
Okay.
One of the sources talked about a study that showed backlinks from nano influencers.
Okay.
Those are the ones with, smaller but much more engaged audiences.
Right, right.
And those backlinks can be even more valuable than backlinks from a mega influencer.
So are you saying that sometimes it might be better to get like a well-placed guest post on a niche blog?
Potentially, yeah. It's all about, relevance and trust. When an influencer with a really strong following recommends your website, it tells search engines like Google that your content is valuable,
That makes sense.
which helps your ranking and brings in better traffic.
So how do guest posting and content optimization play into this? The source material mentions those a lot.
Well, guest posting is basically when an influencer writes content for your website or you contribute to theirs.
Gotcha.
It's a really good way to reach a new audience and get those backlinks.
Okay.
And then content optimization is just making sure your content, whether it's a blog post or video or even a social media caption, is easy to find.
Okay.
So strategically place keywords, optimize descriptions, making sure the content's good for people, and algorithms.
So it's like influencer marketing and SEO can actually work together. It's not just about like flashy campaigns. You know what I mean? It's
Exactly.
got to be strategic.
And the sources that you shared, they actually outline some really effective strategies.
Mhm.
One of the big takeaways is choosing the right influencers.
So no more just like random collaborations,
Mhm.
right? All about building these partnerships.
Yeah, finding influencers that, their audience actually aligns with your target market. You're looking for that synergy.
Gotcha. And another interesting point that they made was about authenticity.
Yes,
So it can't just be these like transactional deals.
right. A lot of brands get this wrong.
Okay.
Audiences are smart. They can totally spot a fake endorsement.
For sure.
When an influencer actually believes in your brand, it resonates with their followers.
So are you saying it's less about a one-off sponsored post and more about like a long-term collaborative thing?
Exactly. It's about creating a win-win for everybody, the brand, the influencer, and especially the audience.
And the source material also talked about specific strategies like collaborative content creation, cross-promotion, affiliate programs. Can you give me an example of how these would work?
Okay, imagine you're a fitness apparel brand. Instead of just sending an influencer some clothes and being like, hey, post a picture, you could work with them to create a whole workout video series.
That's a great idea.
The influencer gets to show off the clothes, you promote the videos on social media, and maybe even set up an affiliate program so they get a cut of the sales.
That's really smart. It seems way more authentic than just like a regular sponsored post.
Right.
But how do you actually know if all this is working?
That's a great question. And the sources go into a lot of detail about the key metrics to keep track of.
Okay, good.
One big one is website traffic from referral links. You want to see if people are actually clicking through from the influencer's content.
So can you like actually see how many people are coming from like their content specifically?
Yeah, exactly. And then you want to look at engagement. Are people liking, commenting, sharing? Are they interacting with your brand? And
Yeah.
ultimately, you want to track conversions. Are people signing up for your newsletter or buying something?
I see.
These metrics tell you how much return you're getting from your influencer marketing.
So there's really a science to this.
Absolutely.
It's not just about hoping for the best. You're actually looking at the numbers and, tracking their impact.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, the source material also doesn't shy away from some of the challenges with influencer marketing.
Right.
Like, it seems like transparency and authenticity are recurring themes.
Oh, yeah. And for good reason.
Mhm.
As influencer marketing gets bigger, it's more important than ever to do things ethically.
Okay.
So the source material stresses clear disclosure guidelines, making sure influencers are upfront about paid partnerships.
So using those hashtags.
Yeah.
Like hashtag sponsored, hashtag added.
Exactly. It's about being honest with the audience and building trust. Transparency is really important.
Yeah, it's like respecting the audience's intelligence
Yeah.
and acknowledging that they can see through the BS.
Absolutely. When brands and influencers prioritize transparency, it strengthens the connection with their audience in the long run.
Okay, so we've covered the different types of influencers, how influencer marketing can work with SEO, strategies for collaborations, the need for authenticity and transparency. But the source material also talks about some tools that can help manage these campaigns.
Yeah.
It mentions things like BuzzSumo, Tracker, Upfluence, Grin. What are those all about?
These tools can be super helpful for streamlining your efforts. They have features to help you find the right influencers, manage your campaigns, track your results, analyze the data. They can be really helpful for brands that are trying to really get into influencer marketing.
Okay, so they help you stay organized and efficient and make data-driven decisions.
Exactly. They let you focus on building those relationships and creating great content.
It sounds like these could be a really valuable resource. But before we get into the specifics of those tools, I want to shift gears a little bit and talk about content creation.
Okay.
The source material really emphasizes the importance of creating content that's valuable for the audience.
Content is king. You
Exactly.
can't just push products. You've got to work with influencers to create something educational, something entertaining, something inspiring.
So are you saying it has to be something people actually want?
Yeah. You want to add value to their online experience, not just interrupt it with ads.
Gotcha. And guest posting, the source material mentions that as well.
Right. Guest posting is a great tactic for SEO and brand building. Having an influencer create content for your blog, or the other way around, can really expose your brand to new people and boost your search ranking.
It's a win-win.
Right, exactly. The brand gets exposure and backlinks, and the influencer gets to share their expertise and build credibility.
It's all about collaboration. Now, content optimization comes up a lot in the source material too.
Right. Content optimization is basically making sure the content you create with influencers is designed to rank well in search results.
Got it.
So that means using relevant keywords, optimizing your descriptions, following all the best SEO practices so your content is both engaging and easily found.
So it's not just about making good content. It's about making sure people can actually find it.
Exactly. Content optimization ensures your influencer marketing is reaching the right people, both through the influencer's audience and through organic search.
Now, there's another thing I wanted to ask about. Social amplification. That sounds interesting.
Yeah, social amplification is all about using the influencer's social media channels to really boost your brand's visibility.
Okay.
So they can share your content, run contests and giveaways, encourage their followers to check you out.
So it's like tapping into their existing audience to spread the word.
Exactly. It helps amplify your message and create buzz.
There's so much to influencer marketing. It's crazy.
It is, and it's always changing. But sometimes I think we get so focused on the strategy and the data that we forget about the audience.
Yeah. It's easy to do that.
Which is why the source material also talks about the power of user-generated content.
Okay. What's that all about?
Basically, encouraging the influencer's followers to create their own content about your brand.
Oh, like running a contest where people share pictures using my product.
Exactly. That kind of content feels more genuine because it's coming from real people.
It's like having a bunch of micro-influencers.
Right. User-generated content can be super powerful because it builds trust.
That makes a lot of sense. Now, one thing that's been on my mind, we've talked a lot about the benefits, but the source material also mentions some of the ethical things brands need to think about.
Right.
Can you expand on that a little?
Sure. As influencer marketing grows, we need to address ethical concerns and make sure we're doing things the right way. Transparency is a big one. Influencers should be upfront about their brand relationships.
So you mean using clear hashtags and saying it's a paid partnership?
Exactly. And it's about more than just following the rules.
Okay.
It's about being honest and maintaining that trust with the audience.
So being upfront with everyone about the nature of the relationship.
Exactly. And it's also important to avoid misleading or deceptive practices.
Right.
Influencer marketing should be about authentic endorsements, not tricking people into buying something they don't need.
So responsible marketing, basically.
Right. It's about making sure that the campaign is aligned with ethical values and benefits both the brand and the audience.
Absolutely. Well, we've covered a lot of ground. We talked about different types of influencers, how influencer marketing works with SEO, strategies for collaborations, the importance of authenticity and transparency, and even touched on some of the ethical considerations.
Yeah, there's a lot to it.
There is. And in the next part of our deep dive, we're going to go deeper into how to measure the success of these campaigns. We'll also talk about how to keep up with all the changes in the world of social media. So stay tuned.
Welcome back. So last time we were talking about, the whole world of influencer marketing and how it can actually impact SEO.
Yeah, and we talked about some key metrics like website traffic and conversions, but there's a whole toolkit for analyzing ROI, right?
Right. You don't just want likes and comments. You want to see real results.
Yeah, for sure.
The sources really stress the importance of setting clear goals, like right from the start. What are you trying to achieve? Do you want more brand awareness, drive sales, or maybe generate leads?
Okay, so like if my goal is to get people to sign up for my email list,
Right.
then I wouldn't just be looking at how many likes a post got.
Exactly. You'd want to track things like click-through rates to your website from their bio, or you could even give them a special discount code to see how many sales they're actually driving.
So I can really see which influencers are bringing in those signups.
Exactly. Data is key for figuring out what's working and what's not. The sources even talk about using these things called UTM parameters.
Okay.
They're little bits of code you can add to your URLs to track where your traffic is coming from.
Yeah, okay, I'm not like super technical,
Yeah.
but I get the idea.
Yeah. The main thing is to go beyond just the vanity metrics and really look at what's moving the needle for your business.
Gotcha. Now, one thing that kind of worries me is, if you're too focused on numbers, could that make those influencer relationships feel, I don't know, kind of fake?
It's definitely a balance. You want to track your ROI, of course, but you don't want to lose that authentic connection.
Right. So how do you do both?
Well, it starts with choosing the right partners. Look for influencers who actually believe in your brand and who have an audience that really trusts them. If they genuinely like your product, it'll show, regardless of the metrics.
So it's more about finding those people who are already passionate about what you do.
Exactly. And once you find them, you got to trust them. Don't micromanage their content or tell them exactly what to say. Give them the freedom to be themselves.
That makes sense. If I were an influencer, I wouldn't want someone telling me exactly what to do.
Right. It would feel forced, and the audience would pick up on that. And the sources also really stress the importance of, those clear disclosures.
Right, like using those hashtags, hashtag sponsored and hashtag ad.
Exactly. It's not just about following the rules. It's about being transparent and honest with the audience.
Okay, so transparency is key. Now, another challenge that came up in the source material was market saturation.
Right.
There are so many brands doing influencer marketing now.
Yeah.
How do you even stand out?
It's a good question. You can't just send free stuff anymore.
Right.
You got to get creative.
Okay.
Think outside the box, experiment with different kinds of content, find ways to really grab people's attention.
So instead of just a product review, maybe partner with someone to make I don't know, like a fun tutorial video or something.
Yeah, exactly. Or a live Q&A. The possibilities are endless. You just got to find what works for you.
Okay, so find what works for you and be willing to try new things.
Exactly. And, we keep talking about the audience, but it's easy to forget they're actual people.
Yeah, it's easy to get lost in the data.
Right. But the sources highlight how powerful user-generated content can be. Encourage those followers to create their own content featuring your brand.
So like running a contest where people share pics using my product.
Exactly. That user-generated content is super authentic. Real people sharing their real experiences.
Yeah, and it builds trust too.
Exactly. It's like word-of-mouth marketing on steroids.
Okay, I like that. Now, how do you keep up with the ever-changing landscape of social media?
That's the million-dollar question. Algorithms are constantly changing. What works today might not work tomorrow.
Right, it's a little overwhelming.
It is, but the best thing you can do is just stay informed. Subscribe to industry blogs, go to webinars, follow the experts. The sources mention that video content is really big right now, so, try incorporating more of that.
So basically, you need to be adaptable and change your strategy as the platforms change.
Exactly. Influencer marketing is all about experimenting and learning as you go.
Makes sense. Now, the source material also goes into detail about managing these campaigns. It talks about platforms like BuzzSumo, TrackR, Upfluence, and Grin.
Yeah.
What can you tell me about those?
These tools are super helpful for streamlining your efforts. They have all sorts of features for finding the right influencers, managing your communication, tracking your performance, and even analyzing all the data to make better decisions.
So they're like a control center for all things influencer marketing.
Yeah, exactly. They help you stay organized, efficient, and data-driven, which is really important if you want to scale your influencer marketing efforts.
Okay, so these tools can really make a difference. But even with all the tools and strategies, the sources keep emphasizing the importance of creating good content.
Oh yeah, content is still king. At the end of the day, it's all about connecting with people, telling stories, sharing experiences, building relationships.
So it's not just about selling a product. It's about creating something that's, interesting or entertaining.
Yeah, you want to add value to people's lives, even in small ways. And when you do that, the results will follow.
I love that. It makes influencer marketing feel less, I don't know, salesy.
It should feel authentic. That's the whole point.
Okay, so authentic connection is at the heart of it all.
Absolutely.
Well, we covered a lot in this part. We talked about measuring success, navigating those challenges, staying authentic, and using technology to our advantage. But there's one more piece of the puzzle we need to explore,
Right.
and that's the legal and ethical side of
You
things.
can't forget about that.
Exactly. So in the final part of our deep dive, we'll get into the legalities, talk about best practices for ethical collaborations, and see what the future holds for this ever-changing industry. Okay, so we're back for the last part of our deep dive into influencer marketing and SEO. We've talked about, finding the right influencers, measuring success, and even dealing with all the changes happening in social media.
Yeah, we've covered a lot, but now it's time to talk about the legal and ethical side of things, which is super important for anyone who wants to do influencer marketing the right way.
Right. You can't just focus on the creative stuff.
Yeah.
You got to make sure you're doing things responsibly.
Exactly. And the sources really emphasize transparency as like the foundation of ethical influencer marketing.
Okay, we touched on disclosures before, but can you break it down a bit more for me?
Sure. Basically, anytime an influencer is getting paid to promote something, they got to tell their audience about it.
So using those hashtags like hashtag sponsored, hashtag ad, or just saying it's a paid partnership.
Exactly. You got to be upfront and honest. The FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, actually has rules about this to protect people from deceptive marketing. So,
Yeah.
it's not just about doing the right thing, it's also about following the law.
Okay, so disclosures are a must. But are there other ethical things to keep in mind?
Yeah, definitely. The source material mentions avoiding those, exaggerated claims or misleading people. You also got to respect copyright laws and, make sure the influencer's values actually line up with your brand's.
Right, because if an influencer is promoting something they don't even believe in, it's going to hurt their credibility and probably yours too.
Absolutely. Authenticity is super important. Audiences are smart. They can tell when something's not genuine. And especially with social media these days, information spreads so fast that you really got to be mindful of how you're coming across.
Okay, so authenticity and transparency are key. Now, looking ahead, what do you think the future holds for influencer marketing? The sources hinted at some interesting trends.
Well, influencer marketing is definitely here to stay. It's a huge part of marketing now. But I think we're going to see a shift towards, more authentic and meaningful partnerships.
You've talked about authenticity a lot. Why is that so important for the future?
Because people are getting tired of all the noise, They want real connections, they want recommendations from people they actually trust, and that's where influencers come in.
So it's not just about how many people you can reach, it's about reaching the right people with the right message.
Exactly. I think brands are going to move away from those, one-time deals and focus more on building those long-term relationships with influencers who really get their brand and their audience.
No, that sounds like a good thing. It's less transactional and more about actually connecting with people. What about technology? How do you think that's going to impact influencer marketing in the future?
Oh, technology is going to be huge. We're already seeing all these platforms and tools that help brands manage their campaigns and track results. And I think, we'll see even more sophisticated tools coming out that'll make the whole process smoother and give us even more data.
So using technology to make influencer marketing more efficient and effective.
Exactly. But I also think technology can help create more authentic connections. Things like virtual reality and augmented reality could give people these really cool immersive experiences with brands and products.
Wow, that sounds pretty futuristic. It seems like we're entering a whole new world of influencer marketing.
We are. It's exciting. But as we embrace these new trends and technologies, we got to remember those core values: transparency, authenticity, and ethical practices.
Absolutely. Well, this has been a really eye-opening deep dive. Thanks for sharing all this with me.
It's been great talking about this with you.
And to everyone listening, we hope this deep dive has given you a better understanding of the world of influencer marketing and how it connects to SEO. Remember, it's not just about following trends, it's about building real relationships, providing value, and creating trust. So as you explore influencer marketing, stay curious, stay informed, and most importantly, stay authentic. Thanks for joining us.